It's time to embrace it. The Community Podcast, exploring the intricacies of personal growth, mental health, and resilience in the face of life's challenges. Topics tailored for a global audience. Now, let's talk about it with your host, Bracy Goodwin.
See here, and I'm just trying to get this thing going. Hey, I want to welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining in this evening. If you are watching, wherever you're watching from, if you're watching this on the replay, I want to thank you all for joining in today on another Embrace It Community Podcast episode. And this one is going to be as good as all the other ones. And I'm bragging on myself because I know for a fact that what we talk about in here, it impacts the community. So that's why I say this is good. You know, you may not think it's really needed, but it is needed. And if you share this with somebody, I'm telling you, it will be a blessing to them when they find out that a man like me from Brooklyn, New York, is so transparent when it comes down to doing what you need to do. Money and mind, breaking the cycle of financial stress. Man, this is the topic for today I want to talk about. But before I get into it, you know, I am a big advocate for suicide prevention, and I talk about that all the time. Each time I come on, that's the first thing I do. I give honor to God, but I talk about this suicide prevention crisis hotline that's available to you, and you, no matter where you are, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. It's available in English and in Spanish, and it's free. It's actually free for you. So the counseling service that they give you, it's there. If you are a veteran, it's the same connection. You can dial the Veterans Hotline, and they will direct you to this hotline as well. So we are here for you. We are here for your family and for your loved ones. So don't be afraid to talk about the Emergency Medical Health Resources National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Like I said, 988 crisis text line as well. If you just want to text and you don't want to let someone hear your voice and you just want to text them, you can text them 741-741 and get that relationship built. Because we care about you, we love you, and we want to make sure that you're going to be okay. So it's available to you. Thank you all for watching. Like I say, I have watchers following all over. But hey, this is what I need you all to do before we move any forward with this subject here, because I don't want to forget at the end. I need you, if you're not following me already on YouTube, please go there and follow on YouTube. If you don't know how to get there, just reach out to somebody or put it in the chat. And I'll have one of my producers back in backstages connect you on how to get on YouTube, because YouTube helps build this message. YouTube helps build me with what I'm trying to do. So I need you to follow on YouTube. Follow me on the Embrace It page as well. Got a lot of followers on my page, but go to that Embrace It Community Podcast page and follow. All right. So we're trying to get some things done. I'm trying to move to a different level with this. I believe it's coming. So my podcast page is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe to the YouTube. You could also contact me through email, embraceitcommunitypodcast@gmail.com. You follow me there too. Just let me know that you're following. Let me know how I'm doing. That's all I want. Let me know how I'm doing. If you think it's not good, bad, tell me. Tell me, I wear big, broad shoulders. So let me know how I'm doing because I'm about the community and that's what I need you to. So follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me if you can. All right. Also, at this time, I have a granddaughter that's Army. She's been activated. She is going overseas and I'm praying for her, Ariana Smith. So remember her in your prayers. Remember those that are serving in our military. Remember those that are over in Iran already and all these other countries that are fighting with each other. It's a lot going on and the media is only going to tell you a little bit what they want you to know to make it seem like 47 is doing such a great job. But that's another conversation, another show. But keep our troops in mind. It's a mental thing for our military. It's all mental on how they perceive this. I watched the YouTube video of this guy saying that they keep serving us lobster. And if you ever served in the military, especially in the Army or the Marines, when they start feeding you that good food, lobster, steak, all the fine cuisine, that means you're getting ready to be activated. So that's what that means. So they keep hearing this, these young guys that's on there, they're saying they keep feeding this all this good food, all this good seafood and everything like that because they know they're about to be activated. So remember the troops, okay? Remember them. So yes, YouTube, please follow me on YouTube. Please follow on YouTube and YouTube at Embrace It Podcast. You can follow me there as well. All right. Now, I want to go ahead and get this thing going here today. Got a great co-host that's going to come on here, but like I said, this show will help you. It will help somebody. And we are going to have this conversation that needs to happen in our kitchen, on our kitchen tables, in the barber shops, in the churches. It needs to happen. This conversation needs to happen. And I couldn't think of no other good co-hosts. I'm tell you about Dr. James Turknick that we talked for the first time this week. And we must have talked for about a good hour before, just introducing myself to him and talking to him about what we need to talk about in the community. And he agreed to come on to the show. And so I'm grateful for him. Let's see if we can get him to come on. Someone asked about the YouTube name. Did you put that up there? Thank you so much, Andrew, for putting that up there. We got a question on the YouTube name. I'm going to bring I'm calling Dr. J. Get ready to bring him on, add him to the stage, but I kind of lost his camera. I don't know if you can still see with it because he was having computer problems. I was having computer problems. I'm talking about these computers. I don't know what's been going on, but we got a message through work with IT that there's some spamware going on through your computers. You're going through your Facebook, your Google accounts. And so be careful, y'all, before y'all click on or open up a link or respond to something because it's affecting the computers and it's really making it look like, and from what I'm hearing about it, the report when they're tracking down the IP addresses coming out of Russia, it's coming out of China. So be very, very careful what you click on, like, open up. You've seen the emails that's coming through you, all these tickets and all this stuff. Just don't open it up. Don't open it up. So if I were you, change your passwords. Change your passwords on if you haven't changed it in a while, make sure you change it. And just because it's serious here. My computer went down on me just before we got on, and I had to get on my work laptop, which I don't like to do, but I had to do it because I didn't want to miss this opportunity. So something I'm going to talk about later on, buy me a coffee. When you buy me a coffee, it helps help this thing that I'm doing here because your boy here needs a computer. So keep me in your prayers. My computer is so old. It still has the floppy drive for the 3.5 floppy drive. I'm just kidding. All right. Listen, I'm going to bring on my co-host. He's sitting in the back laughing at me. I'm going to bring on my friend, my brother, Dr. James Turknick. I'm going to bring him on, man. Man, thank you so much for joining in. How you doing, bro? Don't laugh, man. My computer is ancient, man. I got a floppy drive, boy. I kid you not. I got a floppy drive. Oh, God. But listen, sir, thank you so much for joining me. Go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody and let them know who you are, what you do, and how we going to make this thing happen for the men. This is Men's Mental Health last Sunday. last I think June, whole month of June, with men's mental health awareness. So that's why I wanted to do this, because I was transparent about my health, my mental state, my body, what it was going through, the things I did, I shouldn't did, that I had to go to counseling, some therapy, and this right here, financial awareness for men's mental health. That's why I got you here, man. So welcome, sir. Welcome.
Yes. Well, I'm excited, Bracy, to be
So
here.
glad to have you.
And I don't know if I should call you Chaplain Bracy or just Bracy. However,
Man, we going by first name. I'm calling you Dr. J. So however you want to do it, let's
That's
do
good.
it.
That's great. That's all great.
Yes, sir.
I'm just a fella around the block. I've been blessed like yourself to serve in the Army and the Army Reserves, and I was a drill sergeant. Served in artillery, which is a
Yeah.
very, very, very stressful field. I did some work in 76 Yankee Supply and also as a driver. And there are a lot of men, and women that suffer from mental problems that have been in the military and are going through some stressful situations, like you just said. Some are about to be activated, and it's a stressful time. So we need to really be in prayer for them. And so from there, I started in the ministry. I was kind of bootlegging ministry before I went to the military, but then I got in ministry in military, but afterwards I went on and became a licensed and ordained minister, pastor, then a bishop and an apostle. So after that, I got my doctor's degree in ministry, and I do coaching and work with people. I do financial services. I work with people who may have to get their money, their credit together. Help get money access through fintech, which is just as financial technology.
That's good. Now, before we get into this, I just want to say this. There's no shame, right? You correct me if I'm wrong. There's no shame in struggling with money.
No.
The shame is staying silent about it. So that's why I got you here. We want to embrace the struggle so we can embrace a solution to this, man. That's why I'm glad you're here, man. So that's the problem I know I had in the time in my life where, my finances wasn't where, and it was just me. I'm the only one that did it to me. I can blame a little bit on the culture that we grew up in. I was telling the producer in the background, I said, we were never taught to save. And I'm going to share this story. I'm being transparent. I love being transparent on my show so people can see where I'm at. I got hit by a car. I was 16 years old. And laying on the street, man, and I couldn't see, do nothing. And it was such an embarrassing moment to me because, they ripped my pants off and I was all embarrassed and my underwear wasn't clean. And so I'm already embarrassed. So now I'm going past that. Now I'm getting better. So there's a little settlement that they gave me for the accident. And it had to been, I want to say it was something like either $6,000 or $9,000. Do you know that my parents spent my money before I can do anything with it? We need this. Your stepfather needs this. I want this car. And only thing I can remember getting for myself was a boom box. I wanted the boom box. I didn't save a dime. Now this was in the 80s, late 80s, early 80s. And I didn't even save a dime, didn't know that back in the 80s, early 80s, 84, 85, 86, Mayor Koch was giving or selling brownstones in Harlem for $1.
Wow.
And all you had to do was keep paying your taxes on it because it was all drug infested back there. But nobody educated me, say, get 2 or get 3 and pay your taxes on it, because now you can't touch a brownstone up in Harlem.
No, you can't. Yeah.
So you see how financially illiterate I was and my parents and didn't teach me.
Yes. Well, this is most of us.
Here we are.
Most of us, Bracy. There's 2 schools. You've heard the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. I like to entitle a new school. There's a rich school, poor school. I went to the poor school first. That was the black school in West Dallas, and they taught us ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. They taught us how to read. They taught us how to write. But I was busted to the school in the north section of Dallas for most of Caucasians. The first day I got to school, the bus was late. We got into the school. The teacher was up teaching. She said, America is set up on capitalism. I never heard this terminology. I raised my hand and said, ma'am, what's that? She did not answer me, like Bracy. She did not answer me. She says, it's entrepreneurism is in America. I never heard this terminology. I raised my hand, said, ma'am, what's that? She didn't answer me. She said, yes, unless you're laissez-faire. I never heard that terminology. I raised my hand, said, ma'am, what's that? She stopped. I said, I guess she's not going to answer me. She said, in America, you can have your own business. You can market your own business unless you're lazy. I said, what?
Whoa.
Really? Even though laissez-faire means more than that, it's a French word. But I, at that point, knew I wanted to be in business and I wanted to own my own. And then she started teaching me nets, profits, loss, gross,
Okay.
supply,
Okay.
demand.
What grade was this? What grade was this?
4th grade.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. Good deal.
I'm in the 4th grade. So in the 5th grade, they taught me the same thing, 6, 7, 8. Then I went back to the poor school and they started back with the ABCs, reading again. See, because the poor schools, they teach you to get in line, be at your desk. They're teaching you to be, what do you call those people work on assembly line?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
that's
so the poor school has a design to teach you certain things. And so at the rich school, we all sit around in circles. We learn words like loquacious in the 4th grade.
Wow.
In the poor school, we learn refrigerator. We learn, we learn different. So we're not learning 2 different schools, learning 2 different things. One school is teaching you to be a CEO, a boss. Another school is teaching you to be a worker. So most of our schools, people in minorities, have been taught to be workers. And we have not been taught to save. We have not been taught to invest and to promote. We've been taught to consume. So most minorities are high top consumers. You take they're high top consumers. So I understand. Am I running over you right now?
No, man, I told you I'm opening this. I'm learning because I'm looking at the chats coming in, man. This is good. That's what I'm looking at. Like,
this is happening. So what happens is that we don't understand why we're in this situation. And it's a plan. Somebody planned for us to be there. And they wanted us to only be workers. And so a friend of mine who went to prison, but she said when she was in school, they would take them to this area and they would become these employees. She said every year, all the whites became the mayor, the doctor, and she always became the janitor or the maid or something. That's the job they would give to the people that were black.
Right.
This is a setup so you can see yourself as a worker, never as a leader. You follow me?
How did when you look at the little things that happen like Black Wall Street, how did that happen outside of the segregation and not? I'm curious to know. I want to go learn more about Black Wall Street. That's probably going to be another show. But yeah, let's stay on this, man. Let's stay on this. We wasn't taught. We wasn't even taught in our home. It was go to school, and my stepfather had this saying. I thought it was so stupid. It was go to school, learn, baby, learn, so you can earn, baby, earn. And I was like, what does that mean? What are you saying? How do I earn, baby, earn? Tell me how do I earn? And their eyes was just go to school, get your high school diploma, go out there and get a job. The best thing to do is get a city job, sanitation, police department, fire department, or transit authority, and that was it. But there was so much more. Like I said, I had the opportunity to buy brownstones in my hand,
but you didn't know that.
I didn't know
that. So now you got the knowledge. See, we can now change. We didn't know, but now we can change. And I'm gonna get to some things, and I'm gonna show you how we can change. But in order to change, first thing we gotta have, I'm a minister, first of all, is the word. And I'm gonna give you a scripture. Most people in church have never read this scripture.
Bring it on,
or they're not familiar with it. So I'm gonna give you a buster right here. This is a buster right here.
Bring it on.
Ecclesiastes 2:26. Ecclesiastes 2:26. It says, to the man who pleases him, God gives jobs to different people. He's giving 2 different jobs here. To the man who pleases him, God said the one who pleases him, God gives him a job to have wisdom, get wisdom, knowledge, and joy or happiness. That's
read that again. Read that again. I'm about to be like Leroy Jennings that come on. You don't know, listen, read. Dr. Leroy Jennings.
To the man who pleases him, God gives him the task to get wisdom, knowledge, and happiness or joy. But to the sinner, now he gives the sinner he gives a task, or he gives him a job also, to gathering and storing up the wealth. So the sinner has a job to gather and to store up the wealth, to hand it over to the one who pleases God.
To hand it over to the one that pleases God. You don't hear about this in church.
You don't hear about this. They never preach this scripture in church. Now you hear this scripture, Proverbs 13:22, a good man leaves an inheritance, wealth of the wicked is laid out for the just. But so what's happening, these are true scriptures. But if you don't know how to get to those scriptures, you're just saying scriptures.
You're just saying scriptures.
You're just
Oh
saying the logos, and the logos is the page word, and it killeth. But when you get the revelation of it, it becomes rhema to you. So God wants us to walk in rhema, and He wants us to break this cycle of financial curses and stress on our, and want us to walk in blessings. He wants us to stop talking about the rich people. See, we spend more time, oh, the rich people bad, the rich people this. No.
Right.
They have a task to gather up the wealth to turn it over to you.
Right.
That's their mission.
That is
but
the
if
mission.
you talk about somebody with wealth, you probably are not going to be wealthy.
Wow. When you're talking about them, you're not going to be wealthy.
Yeah.
More
talk
than like,
about
that's
somebody
right.
with
That's
wisdom.
Right. That's right. That's right.
You're not going to be wise.
That's right. So I think the thing that was instilled in me as a young man in New York City growing up and trying to find my place and trying to find a job, what I would do, I would put on a suit and tie, the only suit I had, make sure I put that on, and picked up the Wall Street Journal. You want to know why? Because I watched them reading the Wall Street Journal, and I began to pick it up and began to read. And I'll never forget, I was on the train coming home from Manhattan, and I didn't have anything in my pocket. And this brother said to me, he said, "Ooh, look at you, man. You sharp. You probably got a whole lot of money." And I said, "Man, thank you." And I had dust in my pocket, some dust bunnies in my pocket. But I started acknowledging the fact that people will see you before they hear you. So I got to now gain some wisdom, like you just said, on how to make it happen.
That's
talking
right.
about my finances, man. This is good.
If somebody was educating, my brother-in-law, while I was in school, now I'm going to this business school, he said, "James, you need to take a briefcase to school." I said, "What you talking about?"
Yeah.
Straps on. So I went and got one with straps on. I started dressing up in suit coats.
Yeah.
Because he said, you got to look where you're going.
Like
people look at
going.
me. I'm the only person there carrying that briefcase every day, opening it up. But hey, it looked a little dumb to me. But hey, I'm 13, 14 years old.
Right.
But listen, you're gonna go to that place that you can see in your mind.
Right.
That's why you got to sow the vision. You got to see the vision and grow to that vision. So as I gave you those particular scriptures there, and the end of that scripture says, chasing money is like chasing the wind. It's wasteless. That's what rich people are doing. God is going to take it over from the rich people, transfer it to the ones He loves. When the ones He loves are ready, they are matured and they are blessed. Now I'm going to show you how important it is. Our people didn't know what you name a person means something. The Bible people always knew that. The Hebrew people always knew that. They named you something. Now, my name is James. Let's take my name, for instance. If you would trace James, go back to the Bible. James is Hebrew. James in Hebrew is Jacob. James is the English version, but it's Jacob. Jacob means, that's right. It means, well, some abbreviations is Jack, Jim, Kobe,
right?
And all these different names for Jacob. Now, Jacob's name means supplanter. Supplanter is not a good meaning. It means one that takes something from him, from someone else's that don't belong to him. Jacob came out of the womb trying to take his brother's birthright.
Wow.
Jacob stole his brother's birthright. Wow. It was in his name. That's why he had to wrestle with the angel of the Lord to change him from the name he in. See, when God changes us, He moves us into a different disposition of ourselves. So the middle of his name meant successor. when God can bring us from one point to the next point, James or Jacob becomes a successor. Then the ending of James means prince. When James or Jacob matures,
Okay.
that's why are you a basketball fan?
Yeah, I watch a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You remember there was a guy basketball player long time ago named Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe is extension of Jacob, right?
Right.
King Kobe. So the
Right.
word prince in Jacob is interpreted in English as king. Kobe was the king. Now, who's the king of basketball now? LeBron James.
Right.
It went from one
Right.
king to another. So when James mature, he becomes a king. So each one of us have to know that as we mature, where we're going to. See, the Israelites, they knew from the womb they would pray for the babies, and they asked God for the vision of what they were supposed to be. And so then when they matured, they became what God promised them. A lot of times in our family, we didn't know you could pray and know the vision for the child. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
So this stuff
That's
is very
good.
important. So a lot of us, we came into brokenness. We came into this, all kind of disbeliefs and all
The
kind of negative
struggle.
things that we were born into. But we
Yeah.
have the authority to break these things. And so I want to go back now and say, let's say, for instance, I want to deal with a man that has no money. Let's
Okay.
go there. Is that fair?
Okay. Yep. That's fair.
I want to deal with a man that has nothing. And God allowed me to really understand this just a few years ago. I've been helping people for years, and in business, I've been blessed to make a lot of money in business, all different. I've been in like 30 businesses since I was a kid, and I've made a lot of money. But I ran for office, and I went through a divorce first. I was just still doing good in business, still making money. I ran for office. I let my business go, and things happened, and I went down to broke. They went after my house. They went after everything I
Yeah.
had, man.
Wow.
I wound up homeless. I had penniless. I went in to utilize my military support groups, and I went in. They said, "Well, we'll help you out. We'll help pay your bill." I went to shelter. I had to go to shelter. I
Right.
had
Right.
nothing,
Wow. Wow.
but I learned what people were going through and what they had to deal with. And it is a difficult situation to be in when you don't have nothing. You don't
Yes.
have any money for gas in your car, or you don't
Yeah.
even have a car. Come
Yeah.
on. It's a
Yeah.
very difficult situation, but one can get himself out of that situation if he or she is trusting in God. And so I would like to talk about this real quick. Sometimes you got to deal with those 5 stages of grief. I don't know, you're familiar with the 5 stages of grief, right?
Yeah. I'm
That
familiar.
people
Yeah.
go through. People
Yeah.
have to deal with those stages of going through grief and the tough times that you go through, the pain, the anguish. You feel like you've been let down. You feel like
Frustration.
you're
Right. Yeah.
depressed. You're
Right.
going through denial. You're going through anger.
Right.
You're
Right.
going through bargaining. You don't know what happened. You're depressed, but then you come to a state as you begin to come out. You start accepting, and you say, "You know what? I believe I'm gonna get better." And things begin to start getting better. You come to the grips that you can make it. And so when you get to that group, I would suggest to get a team or a community around you. Let me explain what I'm saying. You don't have to have anything, but if you can get a family member, a mother, a sister, if you don't have a father, if you don't have you get a brother, you can get a friend, or you can get some new associates around you. I just met you. You can get new wisdom from those people.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
team.
Yes.
You can
Yes.
get a doctor, somebody you go talk to. Make sure that you can get your health together. You might be going through such challenges like me. I had to get a therapist.
Yes.
Amen. I had to
Right.
get 2
Yeah.
or 3 therapists. I had to get an
Right.
occupational therapist, a regular
Right.
therapist, because your mind is tripping.
Your
Your
mind,
mind is going
especially
through.
as a
Hello,
man,
somebody. You don't have
especially as a
anything.
man. Right. Now,
And then I
look
got
at this.
set up with a military program, and they said, "Well, we'll pay his rent." But then they did for like a month, and then I was coming in with my suits on, I'm looking good. They said, "Mr. Turknett don't need this program." they were looking at how I looked and they cut me off of the program.
That's what happens. That's why you got to go when you go to these appointments. I hate to say it, in the military, they don't want you to come in there like you doing all right. You better go in there like you don't have nothing. You better have on one green sock and one red sock, and don't shave the whole
That's
entire
sad,
week
but
before. So, because they come like, "Hey, you doing all right?" You know, so I learned. I learned. I know there's some people on here from the military that's watching, and they know this is so true
they
because
cut me
they
off,
can
bro.
do
They
that to
cut
you.
me off. They didn't let me
Right.
go. I didn't even know what I was dealing with. And so I go back to the doctor. I said, look, something's wrong with me. I couldn't even remember the days of the week, man. I was sweating. I was profusely hot. All kind of things would happen. I couldn't
Yeah.
sleep. I was being nervous. I said, what is going on with me? And they sent me to the therapist. She said, you got ADHD. I'm like, really? I'm 50-something years old. But she said, yeah, you have it. I said, okay. And I'm sure some other things too she probably missed, but I had to get myself in order and start working on myself. And I'm still am. I mean, honestly, last week I found myself going to the ER a couple times and having dehydration, and same thing I was dealing with then, and that still popped up every now and then. And
Right.
dehydration,
Right.
I'm like, why am I having this dehydration? And so then the one doctor, he said, look in my eyes, and the other doctor didn't do it the other day, 2 days before I came in. He said, oh, you got what they call it? I can't think of the name. It means you're unbalanced. That's what it is. I said,
Your
that's
vertebrae.
exactly
Your
what I'm
vertebrae is
having.
off. Yeah, your vertebrae. Your
Yeah,
equilibrium.
vertigo. That
Equilibrium. Your
vertigo.
vertigo. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
vertigo. I'm like, oh,
Okay.
wow, thank you. And he did give me a pill, and in an hour, I felt better.
Wow.
Ain't
And
that
that's because
amazing?
you wasn't paying attention to your mental state. You're dehydrated. All of these things are going on because you have so much other things on your plate. You're worrying about everybody else, trying to serve everybody else. Now you're a
Yes.
pastor. Now you're doing all of this stuff, but you're not taking care of you. So what I wanted to ask you is this. Let's talk to the young people that's listening. Okay.
Yes.
They get hit all the time from every angle. Social media. Social media
Yes.
is showing lifestyles they can't even afford. Student loans. All right. These are like the change and the job market that's not always fair to them that go to school, get these degrees, and spend all this money in college. You've got over $119,000 in student loan debt, but you're taking a job that's only paying you $55,000, $60,000.
Very
So
unfair.
now you have these young people, young men, young women that's dealing with financial struggles just as adults are now because
That's right.
no one educated them on how to make sure that they invested something somewhere to so that when they got done with school, how to make it into their society. Money and your it's a cycle. Good God, this is a cycle that happens. And so I'm hoping we can help somebody
Yes.
tonight on what to do.
We've got to help them. Yes, it's so important. One thing my daddy did say to me, he said, James, always have some money on you. That was really important.
Yes.
And my dad always had change that he saved. So I said, okay, I'll always have some change. Then he said, always have enough money to make a call and catch a cab.
That part. Right.
You follow me?
Yeah.
You get yourself back. So he kind of taught, he said, don't never owe any man nothing. So those things kind of stuck with me. You know,
Right.
and that helped me a little bit. Now with our young people, I want to say this too. You're right. So many of them have all of this, and they're getting ready to be delinquent. We just had a meeting in our business talking about they're finna take the deal off of young people. You know, they're supposed to forgave their student loans. Now they're finna take it off and they're finna put it on their credit report. And how it's finna really mess up a lot of their credit reports and stuff. And so that's what we do, credit repair. And so it's unfortunate that they haven't been taught. I would suggest every young person don't have to go to college. I would suggest to a lot of our young people, our men especially, even young women, go to plumbing, go to electrician school.
Yes.
Okay? Go to HVAC. Okay?
Right.
If you don't have money, go to Habitat of Manhattan. They've got HVAC school and you already have built-in clients.
Right.
You don't have to get your own. Well, I heard that we're 80,000 people less of electricians a year to 2030. We need 80,000 a year to catch up. So that's a good job you can get into. Then you won't be all owing loans when you get out. Okay,
Right,
there are
right.
others. Go into jobs like cybersecurity, go into trades. You see what I'm saying?
Listen, I drove charter, not charter, but I drove transit bus when I lived in Ohio, and was going through school at the same time because, of course, I had tuition reimbursement. But then they got hit to me, or something changed, or somebody said something. They said, "Well, you're taking up theological classes that had nothing to do with your career." I said, "Well,
Mm.
that's because I was told to do it by the CEO upstairs. He got his through here, but they told me no." They said, "We
Oh,
can no longer pay for your student loan tuition reimbursement because it has nothing to do with your career path." And I was like, "Oh, wow."
wow.
So I wind up getting hit with $119,000 of
Ooh.
student loan debt. But now let me tell you how good God is. Someone forwarded me a contact phone number for an agency, a government agency. And they gave me a sheet of paper. They said, if you fall under any one of these categories, whether you're receiving SSI, you're disabled, or your doctor can write a note saying that you have some type of disability because of the HIPAA law. So of course I'm getting knee injections. And so I gave the letter to my doctor. I said, could you just sign on here that I'm getting knee injections? And of course he questioned me because he was white. He didn't want to, well, what is this? I'm not doing anything fraudulent. I said, no, you're treating me for my knee injections, right? He said, yes, I am. And I said, that's all I need you to say. He wrote it on there what he was treating me for. And I also got an ADA plaque in my car. I sent the letter back over to this agency, and they forgave me $119,000 worth of student loan debt.
Wow. That is
Man,
high.
I'm
That's
telling you.
high.
And this was in 2021. I found this. And the thing was, I could not go back to school for 3 years. Couldn't go back to college. Had I gone back to college, they would have put the student loan debt back on me.
Back
So I
on you.
couldn't go back to college. Yeah. So
See?
listen, keep talking. Man, like I said, technology, right? I got to get my charger because my laptop's dying. So I don't want to lose you. So keep
All right.
talking to the people, and I'm going to be right
Yes.
back. I ain't
Yes.
going to, I'll
So
be right back, man. Keep
I
talking.
got you.
Keep
So
talking.
so
All right.
many
Thank
people
you.
are in debt that are going to school, but
Yeah.
I want to encourage you, if that's you that's in debt, you can make it out. I want you to get a team around you and pray and look at ideals. Somebody give you information, just like they gave Bracy information. Somebody help you out. You can get them. I had some people have doctor bills, hundreds of thousands. Sometimes they can forgive your doctor bill. The rich people will pay for certain things, people doctor bills and things like that. But I'm saying that there is a way out if you're in that situation. But first of all, I would challenge you to pray to God and have faith in God and let Him help you and give you an example. Now, this is what I want to say. If you don't have any money, I found myself not having any money, so I started saving change, and I just started saving in a tall cup, and I was saving change, saving change. I got up to $5, $10, $15. When I got up to about $20, I took it to the bank and I put it in the bank, and I kind of felt bad because I'm putting this change, but hey, you got to start somewhere. Then I said, well, the next time I'm going to have more change. And I did. I had about 40 or 50, and I put it in the bank, and I started rebuilding. I didn't have any money. I didn't have anything. I didn't even have a job. I had to go and apply for food stamps. And I didn't like doing that, but I had to go do what I had to go do. I had no job. I was applying, but it wasn't working. I had to work on my mental health to get my mental health together because I was being challenged with all this stress of financial pressure that was just banging at me. And so it's kind of hard to set up a budget when you don't know what you got coming in. So I want to talk a little bit about a budget. I thank Andrea for talking to me, but there are people that don't have enough money, don't know where it's coming from, and don't know how much money coming in. They don't have a budget. I didn't have a budget. Sometimes I was doing work. I was ministering to people. I was coaching people. They'll pay me $50 here and $50 there. Maybe somebody give me 100. Sometimes I do a deal be 200 or 300, but it was inconsistency, and I still had to pay my place of stay. I had to pay for where I live, my food, and so I don't know. God guided me through it. So when you have a team around you, people to talk to, and I was able to talk to my sisters and my family, and sometimes my family would help me out and support me, make sure. And I was doing a season, I didn't have a car. They would help me get to appointments, help me get to places I needed to get to. It's so important to have a community. And then one day I was looking for a job with the government. I was trying to get. They said, "Mr. Turner, you got the job?" And I kept trying to do the job on my phone and fill it out. They said, "We got your information. Just fill out the application on the computer." and you got the job. And I kept doing it. I go one computer to the next. It wouldn't work. So I couldn't get that job. So I finally, this one place called me back and they had me to come in and work for them. And so I didn't want to work for these people. I didn't want to do that kind of job. I did it in the military. I didn't want to do it, but that was a job that God blessed me to get. And so sometimes be thankful over that little bit, whatever. If it's working at the auction, just do it and make your money, but save. So what I would say, when you make your money, I would say pay God first, 10%. Let's say if you make $200, that's 20, go to God. Pay that. Then I would second say pay yourself 20, also 10%. And that way you can start a savings. It's important that you start a savings. Now, I usually like to pay tithes, pay myself, and then put another 10% so I can have for investments later. But a lot of times that's difficult to do. But if you can move on and do those things, you get a job, you pay your tithes first, then you
Right.
pay yourself the same 10%. And then if you can, you put 10% in for investment. Now you're setting yourself up to have a future. And as you get your investments up, you get your savings up to
Right.
one paycheck or 2 or 3 paychecks, you're in a starter seat. You're better. You're more comfortable than where you were before. And you can breathe better, okay? And then as you keep on, you're going to go farther than that. Now, let me show you why this will help you. And I'm going to tell you some stories real quick, 3 examples. That was my brother. He wanted to go into business. And so he said, James, I want to go in business. We talked about it. I said, good, you can do it. I was counseling him. I thought maybe we were going to go in business together. And
Okay.
so he took his money out and he got an e-commerce store, which he didn't really know much about. But on his way out the e-commerce store, next to him was a bed store. And on his way out, the man walked out and said, sir, do you want this bed store? He said,
A
yeah, how
bed
much?
store? Wow.
It was a bed with bed. Yeah, beds in
Wow.
there.
Okay.
He said, how much? He said, $3,000, Bracy. $3,000. My brother said, yes. He pulled out the $3,000. How could he do that? My brother had the money saved up.
Okay.
So he gave him $3,000. That night, my brother made $9,000.
Wow.
So
See?
you see how things can turn around
Yes.
for you if you
Yes.
got something. Yeah.
Yes.
You can dig your way out if you got some. So he made 3 times. He made 300% that night. He made $9,000. So there's a man named Kebron. I went with him. We were speaking at a political event for a guy in South Dallas, and he wrote a book. He got out of prison. His wife was behind him, Kebron Brewster. His wife was behind him, and she gave him keys to his own car, keys to her house, opportunity to go.
Okay.
And he went out and made it happen. Went out and got a CDL and started
Right.
going to
That
CDL
part.
school.
That
And now he's
CDL.
teaching other guys,
How to drive.
how to drive. And
Right.
so,
Right.
you can come out of it. You just need help, but you need a team around you, a community to help you. And so,
And here's the thing, because we running out of time, we're getting close to the time, but we talked about this before we came on air about being ashamed and that
Mhm.
pride as a man, because if we meet someone that's stable, that has good stability,
Yes.
woman, the first thing we start to do is compare ourselves to them. And that's
Mhm.
not the way they look at us, but this is how we think.
Yes,
Even
and
if
that's
they're
dangerous.
they're making more money than us, and they're not making as much as you are. The first thing the man gets is the attitude with her because she's making more money, instead of just saying, well, you know what, you got 75 cents and I got 25 cents. Together we can make a whole dollar if we
Yeah,
just
that's
stop and
exactly right.
think.
That's right.
Stop and think of the old mentality
That's
and
right.
getting
Or
angry. Oh gosh, that
or you
part,
got,
man.
or you, let's be honest, or you
Yeah.
got $1 and I don't have nothing.
And I don't have
Okay.
right. I don't have
Hello?
nothing.
Can I
But
talk to you? Can I talk?
yeah,
And watch this.
right.
I got out of the military. I've got some college hours and stuff, and
Yeah.
nobody's hiring me. Nobody's hiring me.
Right. Right.
Okay, and I'm out of the military. I'm a sergeant. Nobody's hiring me, and so I married my ex-wife, and I did get a job. They gave me a job at the bank, and it was just so many traps. They gave me a load that what they told me, blackballed me, what they was gonna bring me in as. They waited for a while. They brought it down. I got there. They tried to set me up at the bank. Said I took 500,000, which I never would do.
Wow.
But it came on the vice president, assistant vice president was doing it. I left the money out, and so It came on
Wow.
the head. So I didn't have a job after that, but they gave me a little severance to let me go. The senior vice president, they said, okay, James, right now you're not cut for this right now. I said, okay. I was just ready to get out of that stress because it was a lot of stress.
A lot of
And
stress
so
there.
a lot of stress, man. So I went on. I wasn't getting no jobs, and I got married. I didn't have any work. My wife had been working on a similar line, and she had been a nurse. I told her to go believe God to go back in the nurse. I don't know so I went and talked to my co-pastor and my pastor's wife, and she helped her get back in the nursing. It wasn't much of nothing. We just paid so much money, and she got back in the nursing. She was making all the money. But I started doing businesses, trying different businesses, and I was working out there and moving, and she was pretty much taking care of the bills. But do you know, when about a year and a half, I had my business up and running, about maybe the second year, she worked for me.
Isn't that
Things
something?
changed around. Now people
They
were
changed
talking about,
around.
oh, she's got all the money, and he's just taking. That's none of our business. But people gonna get in your business. But I didn't
People,
pay any attention to it.
yeah, they will. They sure will. So I'm looking at something. I'm trying to get through some points that here where I have put on the sign. How much should people aim for, like you said, that don't have anything or might have what should they aim for? I'm thinking like starting off with $500 because, and here's why I say $500, because if you don't have anything and you're really trying to get your credit back up and you're trying to get your finances back up, and an advisor said this to me, open up either a secured credit card. If you can't get a credit card, get a secured credit card or get a regular credit card and start from there. And if you get a regular credit card, because I'm with Navy Federal Credit Union and they send so much love,
Yeah,
I just open up a
Navy
credit
Federal is
card.
good people.
Yeah. And I just say this credit card is designated to buying a tank of gas a week. And when I get paid the next week, I'm paying off that gallon, that gas that I just purchased, which was maybe $44. And so now I'm showing Navy Federal Credit Union that I'm responsible, and it's building my credit because they're going to report every 23 days, 21 days. How do they report? I'm not sure.
Yeah, they I don't know particularly with them, but they're gonna report. A lot of people say it's best that when you buy it, immediately go pay it off. But if you don't have it to the next week, that's fine. I would suggest, now when you said 500, what was you referring to? Making 500 or what? What were you
saving? How do we start?
Saving. Okay,
start saving, aiming for saving.
First thing I would suggest, once you get a job, and this is what happened to me. I started noticing I worked around a lot of policemen, and these policemen was talking about investing in savings and things like that. So I started listening to them, and they were buying things. And I said, well, how are you guys investing? How are you saving? Now, I had already started saving. I started saving change. You missed while you were gone, I was telling them about I started saving change. I started there.
Yes. Yeah.
Once I started saving change, hey, that change grew, man. It grew to $100 if you keep all the change I would get.
Yeah, every time you see 4 quarters and you put them 4 quarters in that change bucket, you do that every time you get 4 quarters. And somebody else said, every time you get two $5 bills, take one of the $5 bills and put it in a savings. Put it in a little bucket or something.
That's what I did. So before long, it wasn't long. It wasn't even a year, but it was 3 months. I had over a few $100s in change. And then when I got a job, I started paying the tithes, paying myself, and investing. I asked the police officer how was they investing. So one girl had just took and bought a bike. And I said, how'd you buy it? She said, let me show you. She bought it off a Cash App. Now watch this. She said, you can go here on your Cash App and you can invest in stock. I said, really? She said, with the money I made, I bought that bike. I invested in that stock, and it was like 6 months later. I was investing every time I got paid, every 2 weeks.
Okay.
I had $3,000 in there, so I did the same thing she did. I went and bought a car for cash.
Yes.
Off the stock money that I had been investing, and I made
off the stock money that you were investing off of Cash App.
Yes.
So that's what we need to get to the people in the community about this Cash App, because the only thing they're using Cash App is for to go, could you send me $20 on Cash App, instead of looking at the investing side of it.
They have an investment side. They also have a loan. They give you loans, but I don't want to talk about that. The investing. And so I use Cash App to buy my car. And so I did invest also in some other like Robinhoods and some other
Yes,
uh,
Robinhood, I do. Yeah, I use that.
coins,
Hmm.
Bitcoins, and some other things. But that's where I first got my first $3,000 on the Cash App. And I learned this from those police officers. They were using this and they were using other platforms to do investments in stock and investments. And some of them would have, as 30,000, some of them would have a lot. I heard one said he had 1 million. I don't know, but I believe these investments can help you if you learn how to invest. And here's a simple strategy. You buy low and you sell high. That's it with investments as a whole. You
Say
buy
that
low,
again,
sell.
because
You
somebody
buy
missed that.
low and you sell high. In other words, I bought a stock. I tell you one challenge I did. I made a mistake. I didn't listen to my instincts. I bought a stock 17 cents, and it was an
Okay.
energy stock, and I knew it was going to go up. And I kept putting money in it for a month, and I had about $150 in there.
Okay.
And then it went down to 16 cents, 15, 14, 13. And I got afraid I would lose $150. Don't be afraid.
Right.
My spirit told me to leave it in there. I took it
Right.
out on a Sunday, like a day like today. On Monday, the stock went from 13 cents to $26. Now, if I had left it in there, that would have been $100 some times 26. You
See.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would have made a lot more than what I invested. So don't be afraid of investments. Try them. They even have some classes on Cash App that you can go and look at the class to show you how to use it and how to invest and what stocks you might want to consider investing in.
Right.
Then they
Like,
have dividend stocks. These are stocks that give you dividends every month. American stocks like AT&T, Ford,
right.
Delta, anything that I would just take a little money at the end of the month and say, okay, your dividends, you got $100 or some back on dividends. That doesn't seem like a lot of money, right?
That doesn't seem like a lot. But if you leave it and play with it, like you're playing Monopoly, because I'm looking at mine as you're speaking. I'm on Robinhood. I got 1.5 share of Ford, 1.53 shares of Delta Airlines, and I'm watching it. It's going up and down. But my
Yes.
1 share of Delta Airlines, when I purchased it for $10, is now worth $49.50. Come
You
on,
see
man.
that? You see
You
that?
see,
How it
I'm
went up?
playing the game. I'm playing it.
You got to
I'm
play the
here.
game.
Yeah.
And then when you
Yeah.
get to dealing with the coins and the Bitcoins and all of the different types of coins,
Right.
that's something you can do called staking. And I
Okay.
started out with $50, and I worked 2 accounts up in like a month to $500 doing staking. It's like you're playing this game and your money is going up. So learn some new activity and new ideals.
Okay.
And within a month or two, you could be in a whole different situation. Also, Google how to make money with no money. You could take stuff in your house like Posh. You can have clothes like Andrea in your house, and you can sell, especially women clothes, to Posh, and they'll pay you for the clothes. Or you can go to Worthy. You have old jewelry or diamonds. You can go and you can sell. They'll buy it from you. Jewelry, gold, silver, and
Right.
they'll pay you for it. It's so many ways, and they have so many. I had wrote like a little booklet up on 25 ways you can make money with no money. You'll be surprised. Like with Robinhood, when you started with Robinhood, they gave you some stock to start. Am I
Yes, they
correct?
did. Yes, they
See,
did.
there
I
are a
still
lot of
have them.
programs will give you stock, will give you money, $5, $10, $15. So if you don't have a dime in your pocket, you could look and say, Google, how to make money with no money, and you can research all of them before the week is out. You can have some money in your bank, in your pocket, but you just got to go get it.
You
And
got
then
to
you
go
keep
get it.
studying. You got to be a student. You got to study and learn how to make money. And I turned my friends on. One friend left his job. He was making more money studying it than I was. And he was like, wow, he got himself off his job doing
And
stocks.
AI is another tool too.
There
AI
you
I've
go.
used, and I put in AI, just create me a way to
Yes.
be able to retire. I just do something out there with it within the next 5 years, and I put where I worked and
Yes.
what I'm working with, and it gave me a whole 3-4 page
That
plan.
Chat GPT tough, ain't
Come
it?
on, man. And then you'll be wise if you follow the plan. Now you can
Mhm.
critique some of the things in it, but it's wisdom here. Wisdom, like we first talked about in this, like we talked about in the Bible, gaining wisdom is great gain. That's the
Mhm.
part
And
that you
see,
have to stop with the social media
mhm.
stuff that we spend so much time sitting in front watching other people act like
That's
fools
right. That's right.
and idiots. and
Now,
not having a conversation with your significant other at the table. Put the phone down, talk about this. Men, think about what you need to do to get to the next level. Is the first thing we need to do is realize that this is nothing to be ashamed about. Nothing to
no,
be ashamed about, and learn how to talk to each other, not at each other, when it comes down to a financial challenge that you might be faced with.
that
It's a
exactly.
simple conversation that we can have. And I didn't always learn. I did not know this. And I'm learning all of this stuff now about trial and error and being transparent and talking about how I want to get better. So I had some things down here that maybe on another time we can talk about. But like I said,
Yes,
I don't
I would
like
love
to keep
to.
people on here too long. But is there any closing tips that you can give people to help us in the community? I'm talking about the people in the community.
I would just suggest quickly make sure you get a budget. The budget is how much money do you make, and then you put down all your liabilities and you subtract them from what you make, and you can do that on a monthly. In some cases, you can do it on a weekly budget. And so just make sure that you know how much you're spending and you don't have as much going out as you do have coming in.
Okay.
And you'll be surprised. You can pretty much guide yourself from one place to the next with a little bit of thinking. And so there are opportunities to make money. You ever heard of Turo? You could buy a car right now online for a little bit of nothing. You can put it on Turo and rent it out for $100 a day.
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
Opportunity. If you need a flyer or you need something done, or you need anything, you can go on Fiverr.com and pay $5 or maybe up to about $50 if it takes complicated, and they'll do it for you for that little amount of money. So you have opportunities since we have AI. Our company is a fintech company. It's ran by AI. It does your credit. It does anything that you need. We can come in and have your credit. In 90 days, you have better credit. That's awesome. And then we can help you get we have loans and things that you can get to flip houses or buy businesses up to $150 million. So there are young people coming out of prison and becoming millionaires. And then we have a high yield savings account. What the high yield savings account, I would suggest you get in your bank, your savings account is 0.1. That means you got $1,000. You only get a penny. With high yield, we're going to get you at least $38, $48, somewhere like that. That's a big difference.
That's a big difference, man.
See, so we want to put more money. There are young people putting $10,000, $100,000 in a high yield, and they getting back $4,800. You know what I'm saying? They get back $5,000. We can make that change. We can make the difference, but you got to start with us right now.
Yeah,
so I'm so thankful to be on the broadcast and be with you guys.
How can everybody? How do we reach you, man? Let's let some people know so they can share.
If you're on this broadcast right now, I just took my main website down. We got to redo. But you can contact me through my cell. Just text me 469-618-9588. Or you can email me at Turknet, Turknett, Turknet.james@yahoo.com. That's Turknet.james@yahoo.com. Or contact me 469-618-9588. I prefer you text me because I get a lot of phone calls and I may not answer. So I would love to get with you if you need credit done, if you need a high yield savings account, whatever you need to start your journey to get you into making more money. We want to help you get there. We help underserved communities, underprivileged communities, minorities and women. That's including blacks. And we want to help you get on your feet and get to where you need to go.
You know, something I thought about before we get ready to go here, I thought about this too, and I looked on this website, unclaimedfunds.com.
Yeah, Unclaimed Funds is a real good one.
Yeah, I got a couple of things on there that popped up with my name, and I thought about it. I never forget. One of them was Dime Savings Bank out of New York. And here's I'm laughing at it, but I found my mother had my old Dime Savings Bank card that when I was in school, they had us open up an account at Dime Savings Bank, and I think I put in there $1. And so I was like 7, 8 years old, man. I said, wait a minute. They owe me some money on that $1 that's been sitting there all of these 61 years has been sitting there. Yeah, $1. Now I better have some money when I'm gonna contact Unclaimed Funds and find out how much is in this account for that one there. And then there was another company I was with out of New York that I invested in some stock. and they tell me I have some money in that stock that was left over. So unclaimedfunds.com is another avenue to find out where you may have left some stuff over, your loved ones, your family members. Go there and find out if you do have some funds left. But sir, Dr. J, like I said, man, this has been so good, so good. I appreciate you being on the show. And we got to do this again. We're going to have to continue doing this again and again as much as people want, because what happens here, after we get off, I'll get a text or call and say, this was really good. I forward this to somebody and this really helped me. And like I said, I don't have to have 1,000 or 8,000 followers. I just need to touch somebody's life with this, man. And this is what I'm trying to do, is just reach somebody. But anyway, if you are following me, if you are a follower of Embrace It Community Podcast, would you do me a favor and buy me a cup of coffee? Copy this address down here. It's called buymeacoffee.com/embrace it. And there you can go on and it's $1, buy a cup of coffee, but it's going towards funding the Embrace It Community Podcast network here that I'm trying to build. As you saw, I had some computer problems today. I want to put up here, buy me a computer. No, I don't want somebody help me, but no, man, I don't like to ask people, sow a seed, ushers, close the door, $20. I need 20. I'm not doing that. So I just hope that you will support and continue to watch and share and link and follow Dr. J here. He is an awesome guy. I hope that you took what he was saying serious, and we're just here for the community. It's not about just being a part of a congregation, but it's about the community. How can we help the community? That's what we're here trying to do. That's why I'm here, man. But thank you again.
Thank you,
sir. Thank you again. I can't thank you enough for helping me out today, man. I applaud you. And I'm going to buy you a cup of coffee one day, because we got some things to talk about, right? We got some VA stuff to talk about. And we're gonna get together and do that. But once again, thank you all for watching, and thank you all for tuning in, no matter where you're watching from. I'm going to ask you to just make sure that you follow the page, like the page, follow the page. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram and TikTok. I need you to follow. Tell somebody, share it to somebody, let them know that this young man has a word for you and trying to help you get to the next level in your life. And if you do that for me, I will forever be grateful to you. But like I always say before my show goes off the air, I love you. And that's because I love myself. All right. I love myself first. If I didn't love me, I could not love you. And I may not like you, but I still have to love you. All right. So again, thank y'all for watching. And next week, once again, we're going to be back on next Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. if you are on the East Coast. So continue. So don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the podcast, join the community on social media to continue the conversation and support one another on these journeys of transformation. And this is what I'm just trying to get you all to do. Let's transform each other so that we can be better to each other. And remember, let's talk about it. All right. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Embrace It, the community podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Follow the community podcast page on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Please like and share the podcast with your community circle.